Hello everybody and welcome to this Train Sim World news video. Today I'm going to have a look at the Preston to Blackpool route, which is coming to Train Sim World 3 or 4, who knows. There's not so much new information since my last video, which was 6 or 7 months ago, but there is a bit of new information. As you can see, we've got 3 whole screenshots to go off, one of which you're looking at in the background, which is a pretty big clue. And we have a route code as well, so there's a little bit more information from that. But yeah, I'll quickly talk about the Train Sim World 4 thing, why not? So Train Sim World 3, Train Sim World 4, I think it probably will still come out for Train Sim World 3. Maybe Train Sim World 4 at the same time, maybe it will be included into a pre-order package for Train Sim World 4, not sure. But it hasn't been, I don't think, it has been reassigned to a Train Sim World 4 Smithfield depot. So I think it probably still will release for Train Sim World 3 in the next 2 or so months we have before the actual game releases. So with that, let's get straight into it and have a look. This is the second screenshot of the line. There's some pretty nice looking scenery there. So overview, it's a regional North English railway, sort of northwest England. It's got 2 branches, and based on the overall sort of route-ish, we will probably get both of them. It's in BR Blue, and it is almost certainly going to have a pacer or a few. So the route, it's about 30, I think actually it's about 40 miles. It's got 13 stations on it. It's double track with the single branch to Blackpool South. And it connects to the West Coast Main Line at Preston. So this is the route map, so you can see the 2 branches here. There's the main line into Blackpool North, which is double track. Actually, I'm not sure what it was when the route is set. We don't know when the route was set. But certainly we got the connection to Preston and to the West Coast Main Line at Preston, and then the main line, the double track main, just sort of skirts around to the north of Blackpool with 4 stops in between, and the Blackpool South line takes a little bit more of a circuitous route. That's the word, isn't it? And we've got, what is that, 6 stations in between Blackpool South and Kirkham and Wesham. I originally, in my first video, thought that we'd only get the Blackpool North to Preston branch and not the other one. But perhaps we'll get the Blackpool South line, because they've talked about 40 miles of track being laid, and 40 miles would be about approximate to both branches. I will also say, I forgot to mention this earlier, this is made by Just Trains. This route is a Just Trains route, not Dovetail. It's Just Trains' first route. And that's why it's taking a while, probably, because they're just sort of getting used to building in the Train Sim World route builder. So rolling stock, this is also the 3rd image showing quite clearly a BSI type autocoupler and what could be a pacer. And the route code did mention a diesel mechanical unit, and based on this sort of decade, I think it's the 90s or is it the 80s to the 90s? No, it would be the 90s to the 2000s era. And the pacers are diesel mechanical, and they fit the bill nicely in that regard. So I think quite likely, and we've had a few requests for pacers, because yeah, fair enough, they're pretty shitty trains to ride as a passenger, but they're pretty nice to drive, and they're pretty cool in the sim. So I've just sort of got some information on all of the pacers. Yeah, I think the 143 or 144 is more likely, but regardless, we've got ourselves a 142 here. These were built between 85 and 87. They entered service in 85. Their pacers, obviously, 96 of these shit buckets were built. 2 cars per set in fixed formations. It got a maximum speed of 75 miles an hour and a total power output of between 400 and 450 horsepower, depending on whether they used a Cummins engine or a different type of engine. I've forgotten what the other one was. And they've got AWS, TPWS, and the DSD. So pretty standard. They are, of course, rail buses. They do not have bogies. They've just basically just been a truck body built on top of a flatbed coach with an engine strapped to it. So the wheels cannot turn in relation to the rest of the chassis, which makes their suspension awful, because it's fine for an intermodal container, but it's not fine for people. So they've got really horrible suspension. They're very loud. They can't take corners well. They're just generally pretty shitty trains. But yeah, they worked. They lasted a lot longer than they were expected to. And to be honest, that's a testament to BR, because they didn't expect them. Fair enough why they were introduced. They're introduced to provide a service, because a service on a shitty train is better than no service at all. But they were intended as a stopgap and then became permanent on a lot of those lines. Anyway, next we got the 143 and the 144. These were built in... the 143s were built between 86 and 87, and the 144s between 85 and 86, I believe. Or maybe it's the other way around. Either way, they entered service in 85. They're very similar, these two classes, which is why I've combined them. They've got the same body shell, the same overall structure. There are 25 143s built and 23 144s. They've got between 2 and 3 cars per set. Also, they top out at 75 miles an hour, and they have a power output of 200 to 225 horsepower per car, dependent on the engines used. And that's the same as the previous one, it's just they can go up to 3 cars, so it could go up to, 675 horsepower in total, which isn't much. It is not that much at all. But they're light trains, they've got fuck all bodywork and fuck all undercarriage. So, that will shove them around a bit. And they also have AWS, TPWS, and DSD. Finally, should you buy the route? This one's a bit tricky because we haven't seen that much of it. I would be inclined to say yes, probably, if you like provincial routes, because it looks to be to a reasonable standard. If we have a look at the at this, you can see it's sort of not quite Nidartalbahn level, but certainly better than West Cornwall. And Just Trains, Just Trains are generally pretty good at building their routes and the like. So I would expect it to be a decent route, probably with some teething issues, as it is their first route, although it has taken them a while to build, so maybe they're actually being serious about ironing out bugs. Either way, I encourage you to make your own decision on that when Q&A streams and teasers and anything else comes out. When new information comes out, I'll make videos, of course, and I make videos on all the new roadmaps. So yeah, that's about it. If you enjoyed this video, please do like it and subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Have a lovely day, and goodbye.